Is Zach Wilson a franchise NFL quarterback? That's the question we're going to answer in today's video. What's up, everyone? My name is Max Browne, current college football analyst, former quarterback at USC in Pittsburgh, and today we are diving into Zach Wilson. My hope with this video is that there's a bunch of you that are clicking here and saying, man, I keep seeing Zach Wilson's name. Mel Kiper keeps talking about him. Yeah, I heard of his name a little bit during the college football season, but what's the deal with this kid? Like, give it to me straight. What's the deal? And in this video, that's exactly what I'm going to do. But it's funny. Every draft class, it feels like there's a quarterback out there that we've heard of. If you're a football fan, you know the name. I'm thinking Carson Wentz. I'm thinking Josh Allen, Jordan Love. And yes, Zach Wilson might be a little bit more of a household name than those three guys, but I think they're similar in that they're all top 10 NFL draft picks, or Zach Wilson most likely will based on the trajectory he's on. Yet it's funny because a football fan, if you're watching this video, you're a big time football fan, yet I would bet more than 50% of football fans have never seen Zach Wilson throw a live rep.
You didn't see anything.
And maybe even more than 50%. I don't know. But either way, that's why I'm here. You don't need to see any live reps from Zach Wilson. That's what I did. I went back and watched every single throw and run from Zach Wilson's 2020 season. It's come a long way from the youngest starting quarterback in BYU history, a school that has a sneaky, very good QB tradition. He had some success early, some good bowl game moments, but then had a couple surgeries. I know he's happy a 2020 season happened because his stock completely catapulted, rightfully so. He was very good last year, but he wasn't perfect, and in this video, we'll look at that. Before I dive in, there's about 50% of you guys watching these breakdowns that are not subscribed to the channel. Please consider hitting the subscribe button down below. Also, throw this video a like, helps this channel get off the ground. I'm gonna do more NFL Draft QB previews, so hit that subscribe and like button to not miss any videos. If you're a fan of an NFL team drafted in the top 10, you need a quarterback, you've come to the right place. In this video, I'll let you know everything you need to know about Zach Wilson, his game, and how it projects onto the next level in the NFL. Starting with what I like about Wilson's game. If there is a better fade thrower in this draft, and yes, I know who's at the top of this draft, I want to see him. Zach Wilson is a fantastic down the field, vertical fade, go ball thrower.
Screen or draw. Oh, Wilson is going to uncork for the end zone, and he drops it in beautifully.
I can tell you about 99 out of 100 offensive coordinators will be running the football in this situation. But when you have one like Zach Wilson.
BYU gets lined up as fast as they can. Now 34, Wilson going deep. Wilson toward the end zone, and it is caught!
Mention the COVID-19 issues.
Wilson throws. That pass is perfectly delivered.
Everything about how Zach Wilson throws the fade balls, throws the deep balls, it's smooth, it's clean, there's not wasted motion, it seems effortless, and he's got all the arm strength that you want. He can do the back shoulder over the top, and I love the way in the red zone, he's got a great knack for getting the ball up and down. There were a lot of times this past season where his team sit on the 30, 35, maybe pushing 40-yard line, and they're still attacking down the field with vertical routes because they know Zach Wilson has the arm strength to get the ball up and down. Even if he's sitting on the left hash and throwing to the far right side like we saw with that last play, he can still get it done. But I want to highlight that second clip in there because that's the type of throw where you're like, all right, this kid's big time. BYU is going to line up in a 3-by-1 formation. Defense is in full kind of 2-minute mode. Don't get beat deep. They literally have 3 safeties. Those of you guys that have watched my breakdown, you've never seen this defensive structure before. You've never seen a third safety body in there playing like a Tampa 2. When Zach Wilson gets pressure, he steps and kind of flushes to his right a little bit. And where this play is made is this safety right here. He legitimately does not think that Zach Wilson can or will even attempt to make this throw. Keep in mind, this is a big field throw, so my whiteboard doesn't do it justice. This is a very, very long throw. This safety, yes, he's doing his job. He's dropping back there. He's dropping back there. As this play drags out, his eyes then get attached to the F. He has no business being there, but he's like, there's no way this quarterback's throwing the ball. So he starts drifting this way. His eyes are kind of on this F. Zach Wilson says, all right, you want to test me? I'll make this throw, and from the far hash he throws a laser right there for a touchdown. It's a throw that most guys would not even attempt, and if they did attempt it, it probably would be a pick because they don't have the arm strength to do it. These are the type of throws that you're like, all right, this dude's pretty big time. The second area I love about Wilson's game is his mobility.
Barreling down on it.
Wilson scanning. Wilson will run. He's got 6 rushing touchdowns as well. And he veers across the line to gain and then some. What a start to our college football weekend on Friday night. Some big games tomorrow.
Or is there a really good opponent that they could play that even move them up higher?
As for the here and now, Wilson gets out of the pocket and takes off with green grass in front of him, out to the 40.
For those of you that watched my breakdown on Monday, and I'll link it above if you have interest there, but it was of Jalen Hurts, and I also gave him similar praise. I said, hey, I like his mobility. That's a big strength of his game. But Zach Wilson is different, especially at the college level, because he has the mobility, maybe not to the level that Jalen Hurts has, but I like how he doesn't rely on it. When projecting to the NFL, that's a huge attribute for him. Versus Jalen Hurts, I think he can do some things in the pocket, but I also get the sense that he knows walking up there on 3rd and 8, if 1st and 2nd read aren't open, man, I can run and let me use my athleticism and let me just get out of the pocket. At times when you watch a guy like Hurts, he knows that and therefore operates accordingly. Versus Zach Wilson, it's a true last resort. It's a true element of, hey, if you're a defensive coordinator, like, gosh dang it, I forgot he can run. We had everything guarded up. It was perfect.
They are who we thought they were, and we let them off the hook.
We had the perfect coverage, and he found a way to scramble and get out of there. In the same token, when I talk mobility, is his pocket movement. I like how he moves up and back in the pocket. An interesting tidbit right there, and if I was an NFL coach, this is what I would ask Zach Wilson during that interview process. But in 2020, oftentimes, especially against lesser competition, his pocket was fairly comfortable. In 2019, it wasn't like that. He had to kind of sort through a lot more things. And I think he as a player was better in 2020. It felt like the whole BYU team leveled up. But I make that point to say, going back in 2019, that pocket movement wasn't always there to the best of his ability, and at times felt like he was doing too much. He did a good job to me of kind of a less is more type thing in 2020 of just maybe 1 step, 2 step, a quick hitch up, get the ball out. It was much more efficient, and I like that from his pocket mobility and overall mobility in general. And that kind of leads me right into the third aspect I love about Zach Wilson's game, and that is he is a very efficient quarterback. And that's not always the sexiest thing to say because I can't always get up on the whiteboard and break down what efficiency looks like. And efficiency is not going to show up on any highlight film, but efficiency, you better believe, is a key aspect of what makes the great quarterbacks great. They don't miss easy throws. You don't turn on the film and say, how the heck did they miss that? Or, man, that's concerning right there. Zach Wilson in 2020, I should put a little asterisk at that a little bit. In 2020, he was extremely efficient. And this aspect right here was a huge area of growth. From young Zach Wilson, 2018, 2019, to 2020 Zach Wilson. You saw flashes of brilliance in 2018, 2019. There was a reason the BYU fan base was so excited about #1, Zach Wilson, their dude. Their hope was, hey, if he could piece it together and maybe not have those wasted plays or be able to string it together, rep in and rep out, he could be something special. That's exactly what he did in 2020. This is no exaggeration, but when I was prepping for this YouTube video, I had a string of every run and throw that he did in 2020. It was just a continuous clip, and there were legitimate times where I'm looking for plays to break down, and I forget that this is not a highlight film, that this was just this is just every rep he has. Because there's a string where he's going 15 in a row completions without an incomplete pass. And that goes for the deep balls too. And because of that, I think there's for sure gonna be one GM in the top 10, top 5 that falls in love with Zach Wilson because of exactly that point right there. They turn on the game film and they're like, there's no errant, inaccurate throws. This kid's sharp. If I was a GM, I would ask him, what changed for you from 2019 to 2020 that made you so efficient, that limited your turnovers, that made your offense so explosive? And get a feel for what kind of kid he is. How does he answer that question? I haven't talked about it yet, but he had some surgeries in 2019, a thumb and I believe a shoulder that spring. That can mess with a QB psyche. That can mess with his confidence. And in 2020, I don't know if there was a quarterback more confident and more in control than Zach Wilson. If efficiency is not the sexiest and the most fun thing to talk about on a YouTube breakdown, this one is. The fourth thing I love about Wilson's game is his arm strength.
Let's force the punt. Their offense on the move. Still early in this game. Wilson on the move. Will throw downfield, and that one is caught along. They got those 2 timeouts still. Play fake. Toward the end zone. That's another knife right there for the touchdown.
It's hard to defend.
It's 3rd and long. Wilson with time. Over the middle, cut.
That's the aspect that everyone loves talking about, loves watching, especially during the draft season. Does he have a Josh Allen cannon? Is he, dare I say, Jamarcus Russell throwing 60-yard bombs on his butt? I don't know if he's doing that. Arm strength is fun to talk about, fun to watch. To be a bit more specific, Zach Wilson's arm strength really shows on the outside lane throws. When he's sitting on the left hash, has to throw a ball to the right sideline, the back end velocity. There's no sense of that ball drooping to the receiver. He's a tight spiral thrower, not insignificant, especially for you cold weather teams. That ball is zipping there. There's no aspect of he's trying to muscle it there. Zach Wilson is a smooth, clean quarterback that has all the arm strength you need at the NFL level. But the reason I included the third clip there, the dig route versus Boise State, because it's a different kind of arm strength, right? When I say arm strength, most people think of, hey, the guy throwing it 80 yards down the field. That's all fun to watch and everything, but this is more applicable arm strength. Yes, the whole shot, that's awesome. Don't get me wrong there, but on this dig route right here, nickel Sam's gonna blitz. BYU's trying to do a high-low over-under on the backers on this side. Obviously, it's different now that this linebacker blitz, but they're gonna try to high-low this Mike linebacker. And the reason this is impressive arm strength-wise is because of this strong safety right here. He is looking to take this F receiver's head off. And if Zach Wilson is any bit later or throws this ball high with the receiver's ribs exposed, this receiver is going to get killed. He throws an accurate low ball that hits him right in the chest, and he's on time with it. At the NFL level, that's so important because at college level, maybe you can get away with an extra little baby hitch and this safety isn't savvy enough to come over there and truly make a play on the ball. That window happens. Right now, ball's got to get out of your hand. You can't allow defenders on the right side of the ball to come in and make a play. Because safeties are savvy at the next level, something that he's going to see week in and week out in the NFL. All right, so that's what I like about Zach Wilson's game, but let's be honest. I know most of you guys are coming here to say, Max, give me the details, man. Give me the inside scoop. What do I need to be worried about if my NFL team drafts Zach Wilson? Where are the areas of concern? And I have a few of them, but I do want to say, when you look at Zach Wilson's 2020 film, and once again, I keep saying the difference between kind of early Zach Wilson versus 2020 Zach Wilson, and it's noteworthy, but when you turn on last year's film, you don't walk away saying, oh, this kid can't do that. Oh, he's not asked to do that. He doesn't do that very well. There is none of that. I guess the one kicker would be level of competition, and BYU's not in a major conference. Is he perfect at everything? No, but he at least has shown on film that he can operate all the things needed to find success in the NFL. But my first concern, at times, Zach Wilson can get complacent with his footwork.
2-0, 2-1-0 really for UTSA. Those are the tough guys. Part of the triangle of toughness.
Zach's going to throw it to Wake and throws it low.
It's a weird double standard in the quarterback world because the reality is Aaron Rodgers, Pat Mahomes, two guys that are top 5 quarterbacks of all time. We can debate where, whatever. They get complacent with their footwork, right? Aaron Rodgers all the time is looking this way, throwing this way. Pat Mahomes doing something very similar. And so it's an interesting call on my end because the greats, they're good enough and confident enough and have so much arm talent that they can get away with it. But I at least need to bring it up because Zach Wilson has that confidence at the college level, and I think sometimes he feels like he can get away with doing that when he should just flip his hips, point to his target, get all his momentum going in the direction of the receiver and deliver a strong, accurate throw. He doesn't always do that, and at the college level he was able to get away with it. It wasn't catastrophic, but at the NFL, when everything's faster, he's not going to be as comfortable just in general as he was at BYU. That can be a slippery slope for a quarterback if your footwork is not 100% locked in, and then things start flying around. It's a new scheme. You start getting hit a bunch. Your team loses 3 games in a row. Feels like the world's falling down. If the footwork's not locked in, that can lead to other issues. I mentioned Mahomes and Rodgers, but the flip side of that, guys like Breeze, guys like Brady, guys like, I'd even say Russell Wilson, those guys are locked in on their footwork. They are machines. You might even be like kind of robots a little bit, but there's a reason for it. And that disciplined nature certainly leads to accuracy, getting the ball out on time, things that are paramount to finding success in the NFL. My second area of concern in Zach Wilson's game is going to contradict something I said earlier on in this video. I mentioned how efficient Zach Wilson was. I do still have some accuracy concerns in Zach Wilson's game. And when I say that, I'm not talking 2020. I'm talking the full body of work that I see from Zach Wilson. I want to take us back to 2019, Zach Wilson's sophomore year, and check out a few clips from the BYU-Washington game.
Wilson throwing sideline, never played 3 straight since
The advent of overtime in '96.
Got one-on-one.
Wilson to throw.
So 3 throws right there that are just bad throws. That is not top 5 NFL pick quarterback play. And what's funny, I have it right here. Brian Griese, who called that game, after one of those throws said, accuracy and giving his players a chance to make plays is where he, Zach Wilson, can improve the most. It's kind of crazy hearing that because we're going to hear a lot in draft breakdowns about how accurate Zach Wilson is. But when you look at the full body of work, 2019, which is 2 years ago, but it's not that long ago, Brian Griese is saying, hey, this guy's got to become more accurate with the football. And in many respects, he did make those strides. He did make those improvements. Let's check out a few examples.
Wilson at Corner Canyon, which is now the preeminent power in the state of Utah. Used to be Bingham. Downfield.
Or it might be undercut by the defender by bringing.
Self and on the opposition, and this ball is perfect.
ADs and coaches and players are living in this fall. Wilson.
So the point I'm trying to make here is it was a pretty dramatic jump, relatively speaking, in terms of quarterback play from 2019 to 2020. Usually in the quarterback world, if you are an accurate quarterback early on, you're going to keep being that way. And if you're not, it's hard to make the switch. It's hard to become a wild passer and then hone it in. And then if you're accurate at early age, you kind of continue that with you. And so that big jump for Zach Wilson is just a little bit of a head scratcher for me. And obviously, you like seeing that progression. You like seeing the fact that a kid developed his game and grew in his game, and maybe that means his upside is even higher and that he still has some ceiling to tap into. I do also want to note, I mentioned it briefly earlier on, in 2019, Zach Wilson had some surgeries, had a thumb and a shoulder. As a former quarterback myself who had a right shoulder throwing arm surgery, that can be very hard to deal with, especially mentally. And so if that's messing with his confidence a little bit and he finally got past that in the 2020 season, that's a great sign for the NFL team that drafts him, but that's not an insignificant factor and something that certainly is real. I hate saying excuse, but a good reason why maybe some of those accuracy things happened in 2019. Just something to keep your eye on as he progresses forward into his NFL career. Third area of concern I have about Zach Wilson's game, I guess I shouldn't say area of concern, it's a little too strong, but something to keep your eye on for sure is playing within the system, or I guess lack thereof. At times in Zach Wilson's BYU career, it felt like he was trying to do too much. And it's this interesting fine line, right? Because the great quarterbacks, that's what makes them great, right? Is that they can make that big play when other quarterbacks can't. I think there's going to be GMs that fall in love with that characteristic as Zach Wilson, but I also think there's a world where Wilson can make his life harder by trying to do too much. And I'm once again more so talking about early Zach Wilson. I felt like he did a very good job of this in 2020, but it's a point that's still worth bringing up. Let's check out a few examples.
Off the play fake. Back of the end zone.
Along with you, our entire crew. And Zach Wilson off play action on second down, climbing the pocket, using some touch down the middle into traffic.
Back and do it right, and that's what they're trying to do on this drive.
Thank you, Stormy. Blitz coming and forced him.
All right, the reason I want to include the play action, deep post, incomplete pass against Houston as an example of playing within the system or lack thereof is because it's a good example. BYU is going to dial up a two-man concept. First read, second read, and then you can check it down. BYU motions the Z from left to right. He's going to end up being the check down. There's a big play fake to the R. Y's coming across the ball to block in the protection scheme. The X is covered from the start. This is double coverage. Corner's going to run with him. Free safety's going to run with him. This is double coverage. Zach Wilson still pulls the trigger. This F is coming across the ball to replace him. And this corner's out of it. He's out leveraged. And he gets under this strong safety. There's a window right here to drive this football. It's not as fun as airing it out 50 yards down the field, but right there you can drive it on this F, put it on his body, and stay within the system, play within the scheme. Don't force a double coverage post ball right there. And I think it's worth noting that Zach Wilson's receivers won a lot of 50-50 balls last season, where receiver and DB are going up, and Zach Wilson's guys continue to come down with it. I love the trust he has in his guys, but you also have to stay within the scheme. And especially if he ends up being a top 5 draft pick and he's going there to save a franchise and all that, he might feel the pressure to feel like he's got to hit a home run all the time. time. Take what the defense gives you. That over route's right in front of you. It's open. Paint it on your guy. Get your first down and come back with a touchdown throw later on in the game. All right, another good example of the need to play within the system came against Western Kentucky. BYU is going to call the scheme railroad. It's a scheme that pretty much every offense has in 2020, 2021 now. It's a pure progression read. No matter the coverage, you're going to go first read, second read, third read, fourth read, etc. Here, the R is the first read on this swing or wheel route. Can't talk. Then it's down to the Z coming from left to right. Then it's the middle hook by the F here. So 1, 2, 3, and then 4 on the Y coming over. The one alert there, and that's ultimately what Zach Wilson ends up throwing, is this receiver on the outside. If Zach Wilson likes this matchup and likes this receiver, he can take this 10-yard out route. That's what he ends up doing. He doesn't make the completion, but he ends up throwing this route. And he's not wrong by going there, but the reason I wanted to highlight this play is because the Mike and the Will both blitz. And the safety's trying to come down to cover the middle. But just by sheer numbers, Western Kentucky is outmanned. I would love for Zach Wilson to kind of feel that and know that he's going to have someone come open, because they cover the R well, they cover the Z, but there is literally no one on this F receiver right here. He is wide open. And so Zach Wilson tries to take something that's murky, right? This is a big field throw. This ball's on the right hash. This is a long throw that he ends up not getting, and he misses out on something here. And so he's not necessarily wrong by doing this, but I would love to have him feel what's going on in here and stick with this pure progression. But there is good news. I've seen him execute this exact play. BYU runs it all the time. Let's check it out.
Yeah, that's where you got to search to find the flaws right now with this BYU team. Off the back foot, still put it right in his receiver's hands.
So that one, the formation's a little bit different, but you can see that he hits his fourth progression, right? We just talked about the back being the first progression, not there. Shallow coming underneath, not there. Middle hook, not there. Zach Wilson gets to his fourth progression right there on a little shallow, and it's a great job by him. Also, I love the footwork by him. This drawing, once again, is not the play you just saw, but the concept is the exact same. Zach Wilson's able to move up in the pocket and find his shallow route. The overall tendency for Zach Wilson to not do too much, stay within the scheme, know where your answers are, that's going to be vital for him in the NFL. The last area to note, or area of concern, whatever you want to call this section, and I already know I'm going to get heat for this one and maybe say I'm contradicting things I've said previously in this video, but I mentioned how Zach Wilson's film is efficient. When you turn on the film, you're saying, man, this is a quarterback just playing point guard out there doing what he needs to do. But the flip side of that is when you turn on the film, there aren't a ton of throws that make you stop and rewind and say, oh my gosh, that's big time. Like, yo, that quarterback's big time. And I know I already drew up one earlier of an NFL level throw. I'm not saying it doesn't exist, but what I'm saying, the average level of difficulty for each completion that Zach Wilson had last year was relatively low, I would say. In his BYU scheme, I think he had the luxury of finding a lot of easy completions. A good example of this is I did a breakdown of Justin Herbert last year, and I would say that Justin Herbert, his average level of difficulty for each completion he had his last year at Oregon was relatively high. He was consistently fitting balls into tight windows and throwing his receivers open. And I can already tell people are going to say, what? It's Oregon. They have recruiting, all that. But watch the film. BYU has receivers making plays. They have schemes where guys are running wide open versus, and this is just the example that's front of mind because Justin Herbert just came off a very good rookie season. Herbert was asked on a more consistent basis from my eye to throw into tighter windows and really stick it on his receivers. And yes, we're probably splitting hairs here. That's the name of the game at the NFL level. The discrepancy between quarterbacks is not very much. It's the little things. And as Zach Wilson progresses in the NFL and he doesn't have the luxury of being able to have easy completions to get him into rhythm and all that, how does he translate over? Hindsight's 20/20, but I think that's a reason why Herbert found success early on in his rookie year is because he had been asked to make those throws on a consistent possession in, possession out basis his last year at Oregon. So when he transfers over to the NFL, this is just what he's been used to doing. Zach Wilson, very accurate passer, has a ton of impressive throws, but if you stack the average level of difficulty for each completion he has, I do not think it compares to, say, a Justin Herbert or other guys that might be out there. I'm sure there's going to be people that disagree with me out there. Let me know in the comments. Would love to chop it up with you guys. It's an interesting quarterback viewpoint talent right there for sure. But even with that critical comment, it does show up on film. Maybe not as much as I would love to see, but it does show up on film, and right here is an example of a big-time NFL throw that he's going to need to make on a consistent basis to find success.
Remaining for Houston, they've got to force at least a field goal here, you'd imagine, to have a chance.
Hit it up by Powell, and he should have caught this one. This is
accurate throw, fits it into a tight window, and has to absolutely bullet it in there. Windows shrink in the red zone. It might not be as sexy as some of the deep ball fade throws that he makes, but it's just as valuable. But there you have it. That's my breakdown on BYU, or former BYU quarterback Zach Wilson. The hype is for real. I know a lot of people were surprised last week when Mel Kiper came out with his draft board and had Zach Wilson above Justin Fields. I still need to dive into Justin Fields and really evaluate both quarterbacks, but Zach Wilson is a stud. If he ends up being a franchise quarterback, I will not be surprised at all. But the reality is the odds are not necessarily in his favor, and that's why I wanted to point out some of these areas of concern or areas to think about, because how he addresses those things I pointed out could ultimately determine whether or not he finds success in the NFL. This is the first of several QB draft previews I want to do this spring leading up to the draft. Certainly going to dive into all the quarterbacks at the top of the draft and do a full deep dive into them exactly like I did in this video. If you enjoyed this, consider hitting the subscribe button down below. Throw this video a like if you wouldn't mind, and let me know in the comments your thoughts on Wilson. It's fun making these videos and trying to project how success at the college level translates to the NFL level. Thanks for watching this video. I'll be back on Monday for another video, and thanks for checking this out.